What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the first edition of Kriegs Korner. It's Corner with the K podcast, part of the Vendetta Sports Media Podcast Network. I'm your host, Adam Krieger. Before I get into the episode with Trey, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself and how I got here. So, just kind of long story, but happened relatively quickly. I'm a college junior. I go to a small school in the Bronx. It's about 30 minutes north of Manhattan, probably less to be honest, but New York traffic, nothing's easy. I grew up in a small town right up the Hudson River in New York, Westchester, New York. I'm a Mets and Jets fan, so my life hasn't been the easiest when it comes to sports and my fandom. But listen, the Mets are looking up this year, but I say that every January and every February and every March, and then when April comes around, I get my heart broken. Anyway, like I said, Mets and Jets fan. I'm your typical New Yorker. I think I'm very quick, no bullshit, very impatient, straight to the point. I'll tell you how I feel, and I'll tell you right to your face. It's gotten me in trouble before in the past, but it's who I am, and I can't really change that. So I wrote a blog for the website. It's introduction for the readers, but I'll do it again for you guys. It's called "Who the Fuck Am I?" An Adam Krieger introduction. Pretty much, to sum up what that blog was, is what I think I'm passionate in is I'm a baseball and NFL fan primarily. If we're talking leagues, those are my two. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable about the two, but everyone thinks they're knowledgeable about everything. So, I'll tell you what I know and I'll tell you what I don't know. And that's just kind of the way I operate. But I'm very opinionated, fire from the hip, and that's kind of just what I do. But so getting into what this podcast is going to be and what it's going to be like, it's going to honestly just be kind of whatever the fuck I want to talk about. So whether that is the breaking news of the day, the pop culture stories, I mean, it'll mostly be centered around sports because I live my life in sports and I follow sports pretty closely. But I also dabble in esports, stock market, whatever else comes across my plate and I'm interested in. I don't really care what you guys think. I guess I shouldn't say that. I don't care what a lot of people think. You guys are hopefully my listeners going forward, and I want to have a good relationship with you guys. So I guess I'll go to this now. But speaking of relationships and the listeners, my Twitter is at Adam Krieger in 1997. I'm going to link it in the blog below, but it's also at ADAMKRIEGER 1997. My DMs are open, or they should be open. If not, I'll open them right now. But let me know what you think. You talk your shit in the DMs. I don't care. I'll give it right back to you, especially if I don't know you. But I want feedback on the pod, and I want to know how I'm doing. But so getting back to what the pod's going to be, it's going to be like a mixed bag of whatever I feel like that day or that week. Or I'm hopefully going to do this. I'm definitely going to do this at least once a week, hopefully twice a week. It kind of depends on how school shakes out and life happens. I'm recording this in the middle of the pandemic. I don't know if I said the date already, but the last Friday in January, I'm stuck in a hotel. I tested positive for the big C, so I'm using my Xbox gaming headset. Just got myself set up on what I think is pretty decent Wi-Fi, and I just started going. So I've written about 15-ish posts for the site already, and by the time this is up, it'll probably be closer to 2025. But I write about the stock market. I write about baseball news, football news. I wrote a little bit about Dogecoin yesterday. Yeah, Dogecoin, like the joke, the meme cryptocurrency. I wrote about it earlier, and that was an interesting thing to do. But I guess the next part of what this show is going to be is I'm going to bring in my boy Scotty Ice. Scotty Ice, we call him. He is one of my high school friends. He's a fellow gambler. I don't think I even talked about my gambling yet, but I'll finish this first. So Scotty Ice, my gambling friend, we're going to do probably a 15-20 minute segment each week going over our picks, our previous plays, the bad beats, whatever is happening in the gambling world. We'll talk about betting trends, fading the public, all that stuff. And we're gonna develop like a Google sheet, track all of our picks, make it super public information. I want to be honest with the listeners, be honest with myself, and be honest with Scott. And Scott feels the same way. So we're gonna track everything on Google. I'm gonna link it to every podcast that's gonna go on the website. Will also include a Google Sheet link. That will just kind of keep us honest. No one wants to. We can all claim we only have winners, but everyone knows no one fucking wins all the time in gambling. Yeah, like I said, so I've been pretty big into like esports in the last few years. I started with Fortnite and watched a lot of Twitch, which is uh honestly just my unwind time. Just pull up my laptop, get the stream on, whether it's Nick Merckx, Tim, Tabman. Recently I've been watching a lot of Black Ops Cold War, the Call of Duty game, and that season is kicking off actually next weekend. So maybe for all I know, I'll be talking a little bit of professional Call of Duty for you. But that's a down the road thing. I guess I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm gonna bring in Trey Daubert, who's the founder of Vendetta. We're gonna go over. I'm gonna pick his brain, ask him a few questions. You'll hear it in the next minute or two what he has to say. My relationship with Trey is honestly it's pretty young. I've known him for a week, but what my interaction with him and my talking with him and reading what he's written, and I was on his podcast, That's Some Cheese, a little bit earlier today. That's actually live right now, so I'll drop that down there too. At Vendetta, we're all just trying to plug each other. Everyone seems to be a pretty supportive group, and even though it's very sink or swim, I don't know. It's up to you, and up to me, you, the writers, to sink or to swim. So, I'm a competitive dude. I don't see myself sinking. So that's kind of that. Yeah. So I'm gonna pick Trey's brain a little bit, figure out how he started with this, and whatever. You'll hear the rest in a little bit. But I look forward to keeping this going for you guys. Like I said, Twitter at Adam Krieger 1997. Welcome to the show, I guess. And without further ado, Trey Daubert.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. In case you hadn't heard, your favorite Renegade Sports Media Group has its own Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media to support our efforts to continuously bring you sports, gaming, and other media coverage as only we can. We've got 4 different membership tiers. For $3 a month, we'll give you a simple thank you on our Patreon site. For $6 a month, you get a thank you and you get to become a recruit in Jackson Law's Vendetta University Gaming Series. For $10 a month, you get everything from the previous tiers, a special thank you at the end of our videos, free access to our upcoming Discord chat, and a free koozie after 4 months. And then the big dog, $50 a month, gets you everything from the previous tiers, as well as opportunities for Fantasy League invites, stream gaming, possible invites to mock NFL and NBA draft sessions, a once-a-month Google Hangout, and after 4 months, a free t-shirt. Yeah! Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media and help us to improve our pledge to bring you the best sports, gaming, and other media coverage.
What's going on? Welcome back to Kriegs Korner. That's Corner with a K. I'm very pleased to welcome on Vendetta founder, I want to say. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Trey Daubert, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be on the first episode. I know we just recorded our podcast, That's Some Cheese. You were on that one. We had some video problems with that, but otherwise I thought it went well.
Yeah, I agree. And immediately once I hopped off that, I knew I wanted to pick your brain a little bit more, get you on the first episode. This is obviously your site and you run it the way you're going to do it. So I fuck with that a lot. So I guess before we get into Vendetta, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got here, and like what from specifically from your upbringing you think led you to wanting to work for yourself and doing your own media company?
Yeah. It's weird because I've never been posed the question from the other side. So
I was going to ask you that too.
yeah,
Has anyone ever asked you questions like this before?
no, this is a bit new for me, but actually repeat. I don't even remember what you said. Just repeat yourself.
So like
Taking it in.
tell me a little bit about like how you grew up and then like where you grew up and how do you think that got you to where you are right now?
Yeah, so I am from a small town in Pennsylvania, Northampton, PA. My dad was my high school wrestling coach. Uh, as you can imagine, it was a bit crazy in the household sometimes. Uh, I don't know if this is a typical wrestling family, but I don't know how to really say it, but you were held accountable. If you fucked up, you knew about it. So I've kind of lived my life that way. I've taken some frying pans to the face by my mom before. uh, Everything was pretty strict growing up. I wrestled basically my whole life from the age of 6 until the first 2 years of college. And by that time, I was so beat up from injuries that I couldn't really do it anymore anyway. I mean, I could have, but it was just, I had bad back problems, bad knee problems. Uh, I guess wrestling from that young of an age didn't do me any favors. So kind of got washed up pretty quick.
Yeah. I mentioned this a little bit in the intro, but I'm also a wrestler. That's kind of one of the things that me and you clicked on pretty early. Um, so
I feel like I avoided part of the question. You asked me something else, and I went
no,
on
I mean, I'll just get into it more now. It was like, but I'll do it. I'll head it from a different angle. But so, what made you decide to start Vendetta, and how was the first month, 2 months, 6 months? 3 years? Is that right? 3 years you've been doing this so far?
February 2018 is when the site officially got founded. So
Yeah.
this is the third year coming up. Not quite the third year, but February 1st will be the full third year.
So, what made you decide to just start? What made you decide to do it? Was it always your full-time thing? How does it work? How
So
that
I
work for
grew
you?
up and I didn't have a single clue what I wanted to do with my life. Not a single clue. In fact, the first year I went to school at Ursinus, I was still undecided. Like I didn't have a major. I was taking all classes that were pretty much required so that I didn't have to pick something. But I eventually settled on economics, which was probably a bad choice because at the end of the day, I'm the type of person where I'm not going to live my life and be miserable. I could have a 9 to 5 job and just kind of do the same old and have a comfortable life and be okay with it and go home and have some family or whatever. But that just wasn't me. It never felt like it was me. So I was going to always shoot for the stars. And if I fail flat on my face, that's how it's going to be. I'm not going to live with any regrets. I'm not going to have the what if in my head saying, well, I should have did this or I should have did this. I'm just going for it. So I originally went for economics. I wanted to work in a NFL or MLB front office. Uh, I had some bad grades, bad mental problems, bad pretty much everything. Wasn't prepared for college at all. Had to leave school. Couldn't wrestle anymore either. So that was also part of the reason why I left school. Uh, Ended up at East Stroudsburg. It's not the greatest school in the world, but they had a communications department I kind of dove into. And since then, I've kind of been on the media realm. And I want to say I started writing in 2013. It's kind of a weird story how things work, but my dad, because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, my dad sent me a flyer that Fantasy Sharks, which is the company that hosts our fantasy football league, myfantasyleague.com, they were holding a contest of all things, which is outrageous, but they were holding this contest where they were going to bring on a writer that wrote the best article, just hire him out of the blue. They had a contest. I entered it. I wrote this post and I still do it today. It's the NFL draft stock report post where I pretty much go through and I write how the week went for the college guys. And on their post, I did it for a fantasy related site where I wrote about all these things. I forget who was in that 2013 draft. I can't picture it off the top of my head, but I remember saying something about quarterback where, okay, his accuracy is fine and he can do all these things, but he doesn't add a rushing component, so he's not going to be that valuable in fantasy or blah blah blah. And I ended up winning the contest. I
Listen,
was
it's
yeah.
awesome. That's how, everyone's got their own little whatever, their own
I
little
wasn't
story.
passionate about writing. I was not interested in writing. I had really no experience in it. I won a contest. I started writing for a company called Fantasy Sharks. And once that happened, people just became interested in me and they wanted me to work for them. I got recruited by another company called DefPen. I worked for them for a while. And then I got recruited by the it's not one of the like subsidiary pages. It's the actual fan sided page. So I worked for them too.
Oh, actual fan sided, not
Yeah.
like not a side project. Huh.
Yeah, not the side pages that they have, the
Right.
actual fan sided page. So I worked for them, but I don't know if I'm going too long of a rant here.
No. I keep going.
So
People want to know, especially if you've never been asked these questions before. I was sure
yeah,
Vendetta readers want to know.
my sort of approach has always been, and I didn't even want to go out on my own. I just wanted to be a sponge. I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could. I wanted to know why things were done a certain way, SEO wise, or why content was being done, or I just wanted to learn everything I possibly could. And eventually it got to the point where there were problems. Uh, most of which I just always thought that I could do it better than them. And it wasn't my intention. It just sort of happened that way to where I got criticized on a blog per se. And then 2 weeks later, I ended up being right about something where the contract language was exactly how I said it was. Is like, hey, you kind of excluded that from my article. Why would you do that? Just little things started to pile up. And it's like, I think I can do this better than other people. And not only do I think I could do this better than other people, I don't feel like anything that's out there really fits who I am either. So it kind of was a perfect storm, and this was created.
Awesome. So we use Slack for our intercompany communications, and I was reading some old stuff, and you said that you were writing between 10, 15 blogs a day when it first started. You call them blogs or posts?
Either. It doesn't
Either.
matter.
I've been referring. I've done both so far, but so you write between 10 and 15. When did you stop writing so much and start becoming more of like the quote unquote boss and managing others? Like when did you start? When did you first dip your toe into expanding, and walk me through the ups and downs of that?
Yeah. So when this first thing started, because again, my sort of belief is I want to pack the database with as much valuable old posts as we possibly can. Just for an example, for readers that want to do this, if you want to type in on your phone Mitchell Trubisky fail or Mitchell Trubisky bust, our article comes up on the first page of Google. And that's just kind of the way that I think it builds a sustainable sort of business model for us. So I wrote as many things as I possibly could. There were a lot of days where, and my dad kind of owns a seal coating company. So I would start my day waking up at 5 a.m. I would work for him till about maybe noon or 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock. And then I would spend the rest of the day writing articles all the way up until maybe midnight or 1 a.m., scheduling it for when I was at work. So they would be posted while I was out, and then would start the process all over again. So I was publishing blogs pretty much by myself nonstop.
When did that change? When did that become too? So when did you stop working for your dad and put all your energy and effort into Vendetta?
So
how long ago was that?
It's actually a funny story because I don't really know how to build websites. I needed help with that part. So I initially actually went into this as a 50-50 proposition with someone else. But the problem is that person did not do as much work as I did, and he kind of faded into the background, and I bought out his half. So I would say it kind of started out as there were two people, me and him. He brought all of his buddies in. All of those people left. I was by myself for a while, which I sort of wanted anyway, because the first 5 years in my head, I wanted to be by myself. I didn't want to make false promises to people. I didn't want to guarantee people revenue. I didn't want to guarantee people contracts. I didn't want to guarantee people false promises that I couldn't uphold. So I wanted to be by myself for the first 5 years. And I wanted to do that every single day for the first 5 years. And half the time, I almost think that I would have been, I'm almost better off doing that, but I know I'm not. But I feel like I get more work done sometimes if I don't have to deal with the craziness in the Slack all the time. But
Yeah, I mean, listen, after a day like today, we
those are the days that I don't get much done because
we recorded a podcast at we hopped on at 3:00. We probably were done. We wrapped up at 4:15, and as soon as we hit pause and stopped the recording, you were like, holy shit, I have 45 Slack messages already. And that was on top of having play traffic guard, as you say, to navigate the kiddies in the Slack group chat. But so
yes, I guess I can continue, but I wanted to be by myself for a long time. And then eventually he's still one of our best guys, Alex Chick. He reached out to me on Twitter. He asked if I was interested in adding anyone. And I really wasn't, I didn't really want to add anybody because I don't like making false promises, but he jumped right in. He started writing blogs. And once he joined, the floodgates were open. People joined left and right. And we found all these people. And it's kind of been like wildfire.
So when did Alex come on? How long ago was that?
I want to say maybe, maybe this, I want to say maybe a year. I don't know. I'm so bad with dates. I don't even remember what year. Outside of my birthday and when the Red Sox won the World Series, I don't know anything. I'm so bad with dates or what I did last week, or I have a great memory, but when it comes to actual dates, I don't remember anything.
Surprising, because we were talking sports and you were naming names that I had never heard of, and we were going through draft classes and you had it pretty much all down. Like
I can remember things. I can remember things like crazy. I don't remember years or dates.
All right, so and I can kind of attest to what you're talking about with the floodgates opening, because I started on Monday and within 24 hours I had sent you 3 names of people that had already reached out to me looking to write, and like I said, I've only been here for a week. So we're at year 3 of Vendetta. We're about to finish up year 3.
This is we're
going to start year 3 or about to end year 3?
Because
2018. Yeah, okay. We're about to start year 3.
Yeah,
that's right. So what does the next 2 years look like? What does the next 5 years look like in a perfect world for you?
In a perfect world for me, the 5-year mark has always been sort of my goal, where we can start. Well, initially I want to be by myself, but the 5-year goal has been where I want to start handing out contracts to people, where we can start locking up some of these talented people that we have. And right now, the year 3 goal, and I've always had this mapped out. The year 3 goal has been, I want to expand past sports. So like what's happened this week, where we're covering the stock market, is 100% what I've wanted. The first 2 years, we want to build up the sports brand, get our names out there, really establish ourselves and what we believe in. Year 3 is, okay, we're doing the sports thing really well. Let's get into stocks. Let's get into gaming. Let's get into movies. Let's get into comedy. Let's get into viral moments. Woman punches another woman in the face at a Wawa. Let's cover it. That's been the goal for this year. And then, year 5, I want to hand out contracts. And by that time, hopefully, and the location has not been set yet, but by that time, I do plan on having an office, the year 5 mark. I don't know where that will be or how big it'll be, but that's the goal for the 5-year mark. Then after that, really, I mean, I have bigger goals. I don't necessarily have them exactly mapped out, but I want to be having our own Sirius XM channel, sort of things like that, having real boots on the ground, where we can, maybe a long-term goal is, okay, we have our internship program, but we have our own guys at different colleges where, hey, we hire an intern, but we hire the intern that broadcasts the basketball games. Really get our foot in the door with some of the bigger things with that end. So working on credentials, just stuff like that.
Nice. I guess we're kind of getting towards the end. But what would your advice be to me and other first year interns that are, trying to succeed and try and do things well and get, drive clicks?
It's a good question. I would say, I mean, there's so much, but number
The top
one is
three. Give me the top three then.
number one is I would say you have to let the work do its job. You can't show up every day and expect it to be handed something. There's so many people that want to be in this field, and it's such an unforgiving field, and people tune other people out very quickly. If they don't hear from you in a day, they'll say, "Oh, Adam didn't post anything today. I guess I can unfollow him. I don't have to pay attention to what he has to say." So I would say let the work really put itself out there. Don't miss it. Don't miss a day. I mean, I try to post now every single day, but I used to back in the day. It was writing 10 things every day. So I would, number one is you got to put the work in, or else you're not going to get anywhere. Even the most talented people were doing things nonstop, where they work in this city or this city or this city. So I'd say number one is to put the work in. Number two is, and I don't even know if this is something that can even be worked on, but so much of this is having a spark and being unique and being different. There's so many people in this field where, oh, this guy got traded for this guy, and they have the exact same analysis and they don't really have their own spin on things. And I just think being unique and being different and is just such an advantage for people that they don't really understand, that they don't constantly think of, okay, how can I be different? What content isn't creating that I can do? How am I talented than somebody else that doesn't have the ability to do something? So one of the things that I love to do is, I don't believe anybody scouts the way I do when it comes to the NFL draft. All of my scouting notes or NFL notes at the combine are just wildly different than anybody else's. I think that's one of the unique things that I do. So I would say find a niche, find something that you can do that other people cannot do. And then I think the last one is having sort of a self-awareness to prioritize your time. I know that sounds dumb, but I would say really make a schedule for yourself. Say, okay, I'm going to really sit down from this time to this time, and I'm going to get things done. And these are the topics I want to write about because these are the things that are going to get clicks. Constant communication, be up my ass about stuff. I would say those are probably the three biggest things.
Good to know because I've been here to his day 5. I think I messaged you too many times on Slack. I've apologized a few times already, but I guess that's what you're looking for, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, just kind of going off the self-awareness thing. I think that's kind of one of the most important things, even just to have as a human being. Know your limitations, know who you are, and like just be pretty authentic to yourself. And so far, reading and listening to everything on Vendetta, it seems to be that's your goal. Is you want authenticity, you want people to be themselves and unapologetically yourself.
Yeah,
That sounded right.
as I've said, I do not want TreyDaubert.com. I stay out of the creative business because I don't want my hands in something. If my hands are in everything, we will not grow. If we have 50 unique minds that all think the same way and everything branches out, it's the best possible scenario.
Great. I think that's it. Why don't you tell everyone where to follow you? What's I mentioned the opening that I wrote just on your show. That's some cheese. That's going to be in the link down below. On I'm going to link it to YouTube, and I'll also be on the post on Vendetta. But so I've been following you for a week, but I know I've seen a lot of Senior Bowl coverage.
Yeah, I don't normally tweet that much, but
Is that your thing? College football is your thing?
I don't normally tweet that much, but I use those clips for the post, so I had to do it. Otherwise, I would be using this app, but I was so behind that I couldn't record them that way. Otherwise, I don't normally tweet that much. But what else did you ask for me?
Yeah, give everyone. I mean, if you don't really
Hopefully I didn't disappoint.
give everyone your handle. No, you definitely didn't disappoint. I think it's gonna go well.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking. I don't know. I'm looking to see what this can turn into. Hopefully, this grows, and you know, you've only known me for a little bit, for a short time now, but I hope you can tell I'm pretty motivated. My head's down. I like to work hard, and I want to keep this relationship going a little bit. Again, thank
Hey,
you, Trey
if
Daubert,
yeah.
founder of Vendetta. Any final words?
Uh Not much. I'm just excited for the future. I think we have a good thing going here. The internship program has worked better than probably I anticipated. It's not quite where I want it to be, but it's a good start. So I don't know. I'm excited for the future.
I agree. I'm excited for the future and excited for what's to come. I guess, well, my one last thing is I just want to say quick thank you to Anthony Fontanello. He put you guys in contact with he mentioned to my school that you guys were always looking for interns, and from that point on I reached out to him. He got me in touch with you, and that pretty much started it. I guess my one little quirky story was that, so we hopped on an interview. We're supposed to Zoom. It was supposed to be at 5:30 or 5 o'clock. You sent me the link 15 minutes early. I was ready to go, hopped on, and your first question, you're like, all right, Anthony recommended you, so like that should be good. You're like, all right, I guess first question is, how do you know Anthony? And from that point on, I had never met Anthony before, and I was like, oh my god, like this kid, I feel bad. I'm gonna have to tell him this on the first day, but yeah. So shout out Anthony for getting us in touch and getting this going, and I guess everyone subscribe to That's Some Cheese. We're trying to grow the YouTube page, so I'm gonna subscribe to that. We have some big things planned, and hopefully everything's gonna go well. All right, guys, that's our episode with Trey. See you next week.